So this is seed to grains milled, to dough kneaded, to loaf baked, to bread broken, to bread consumed, all in a given day. First part of my dream, I see the face of the most beautiful blonde-haired woman. These just hatched. They're flying right nearby this car. They look like little dragonflies. They all look like little crucifixes. Right? Most of us first-timers with a typewriter will open it with this larger part of the case facing down. Mistake. Because by the time you open it, you'll see the truth. The typewriter's right there. Southworth paper. This is watermarked. It's impossible to forge this page. If you could only see how this camera is set up right now, it's to not have any direct contact with this table, because if that were the case, it gets wobbly. Let's make this double-spaced. Sounds good. All right. It's been over a half a year. Om Sai Ram. Today's date being the 13th of May. And what's the time? Time is 1:04 p.m. Eastern Standard. 1:04 p.m. EST. Let's see where God takes us, shall we? Why is it that I start from the 3rd string down and go from the 4th string up? Because I'm tuning out in a way that brings balance to the tension of the guitar. Outside of your circle, I've been walking around. Going to be writing a song from beginning to end. Starting now, I'm missing a component, which is a nice fresh beer. This recording is specific for Ed Sheeran. Ed, when I heard that you had legal issues because of a song that you wrote in an hour and a half, I was thinking to myself, well, surely you've written songs faster than that. The world just doesn't understand sometimes. This is Lawson's Finest Liquids. These guys are out of specifically Waitsfield, Vermont. And this is a beautiful Czech Pils, 4.8% alcohol. And it is crisp. The thing I love about Pilsners is that you have it cold for a while, it just gets better. It mellows out, and this one has about 6 or 7 months age. This is from September, so I know months mean something to you last year, moving into now. Cheers to you, my friend. I'm ready. Got my black wing pencil, Southworth paper. All of these songs have to do with love. The fear of loving. The fear of loving is miles ahead of lonely living. It is. Just the fear alone is better than convincing yourself it's better for you to be alone. It's not compatible with life certainly not compatible with women, no matter what the world says. Men and women need each other. Let's start there. Men and women need each other. I never start with lyrics. Men and women need each other. The way that I am is just saying thank you. Thank you for this canopy of peace. Thank you for these beautiful blue skies. Thank you for the sounds of life. After a promise of a brighter day, one wing cannot fly alone. Time for posterity, right? 1:53 p.m. EST. Today is the 13th of May, 2023, New England. Let's have some fun. I had this riff rolling around in my head. Na 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 na. We need each other. Just spiraling down. What is one wing? Just spiraling down. One wing is just spiraling down. One wing is just spiraling down. I know it. After a promise of a brighter day, one wing cannot fly alone. You know you're tired of saying the same thing. I don't wanna be anything else. I wanna love in my life. Don't send me to hell. I want two wings before I'm spiraling down. I wanna side by side. Before I'm spiraling down, I want side by side, side by side. Men and women need each other. Yeah, it's nice. Let's go to chorus for that. Men and women need each other like a war in vain. Something like that. Men and women need each other like a warm embrace. After hell on earth has come and taken us, come and taken us away, taking us away. One wing is just spiraling down. What is our promise of a bright day? What is one wing? Nice solo. 207. It's now 207. And I'd say that's the rough of chorus and verse. 2:07 p.m. We started at 1:53. That is 14 minutes. One wing. Call that one wing. Men and women need each other. What is one wing but a spiraling down? I like that. What is one wing but a spiraling down after a promise of a brighter day? One wing cannot fly alone. Men and women need each other like a warm embrace. Oh, when you're born again, you're never alone. That doesn't mean I want to get off the phone. Not when I'm falling again, falling for you. That nice... I'm falling for you. You just stay right on it. Falling for you. No need to go crazy. Here's one wing. This is for you, Ed. But this is like rockin', man. It's old school rockin'. These are the songs that I used to write back like in the late 90s when I was really into Dave Matthews. And I didn't even know who John Mayer was. Like Soundgarden, Pearl Jam days. And that's what came out today. Meant for us, man. This is dedicated to Ed Sheeran. To you, Ed. It's dedicated to you. Along with this letter, I'm going to send this to you. And I have the video for posterity, so I pray that we hang out and do a session like this and make something beautiful, pure joy kind of thing. Two dads writing dad songs. Cheers to you, my friend. And this isn't my song. It comes from within. I serve as an instrument of a one spirit, regardless of our distance. There's no distance with that spirit. And spiritus in Latin means the breath, so one breath, my friend. Cheers and thanks for watching. And that felt good. Cheers to that. That felt real good. One wing. My love. My love. There's a large monarch butterfly up there. Looked like a leaf in fall. It's a monarch. They're up there. Chickadees are really friendly. Very curious. Very lovely. Very communal. And they'll usually change their notes. Like it's doing that, but it might start going, my love, if it doesn't hear me. Because it likes to sing when it's happy. When it's not happy, it'll go, it's not doing that right now. I am the songs that have been sung and the ones that have yet to be sang. And so through that, we know that there is no limitation as far as what the infinite intelligence can do. So to think that there is a finite version of something that is of limited quantity, that cannot be reproduced, is to see something in the light of illusion and scarcity. And from that bubbles up fear and the temptation to trespass upon someone. And we ask the Lord to lead us not into that temptation, but to deliver us from that evil, from that error, from that mistake of seeing things as finite. And to forgive us our trespasses from the past. For the kingdom and the power and the glory, all of this that we experience, and all the things that we wanted to have and will wish to have, all that glory belongs to the Creator, who brings forth everything as a result of our entertained thought. So when you choose thoughts that have to do with expansion and infinite oneness with the life around you, you are mirroring the initial order of the Lord. And thus you are delivering to the Lord the truth of his existence as Creator, which is all the Lord wants. more and more unique expressions of who He is. For the Lord cannot be us directly. He must express Himself through things. For it is the tesseract of movement, the infinite moving in and out of the finite. Us being the finite expressions, the things, and the Lord being that which animates, brings forth, keeps together, pulls apart, renews, and brings to death in that infinite perpetual cycle. There is an indefinite, constant relationship that is always moving between ourselves and the Lord. This is the duality of life. And beyond this duality of life exists the all, the that after I am. And so let there be light in your thoughts that you choose. Adhere to the 10 Commandments. Love thy neighbor, for in the loving of your neighbor, you become a healer to your community. Offer daily bread, some form of expression in the form of food to your neighbor. And should the temptation come to want to take from your neighbor something that you believe is finite, remind yourself this is an opportunity to forgive some part of your past that once believed you were alone and separate from this person whom you wish to take from. And through this comes complete and total liberation. And it doesn't have to be overnight. Do it during the day. You have an opportunity every morning with a clean slate to live that day the best that you've ever lived. And that is my prayer for you, in service to you. And on this day, there have been lots of ups and downs. But what we can do, which is so beautiful, is we can reflect, and come the moments just before we drift off to sleep, we can reenact our day, which fortifies the synapses in the brain, and at the same time, we can utilize the nation of images, the imagination, to rewrite the past that we lived in this day and the days before, to imagine the best possible result based on the best version of what you could have imagined doing for the highest good of everyone involved, in adherence to the 10 Commandments and the Lord's Prayer. That is my proposal to you, to see your life improve, and to know that you're never alone. And through this practice, regardless of what your external circumstances may be telling you, you shall not want. The shepherd is within you and wishes to show you the truth of your infinite intelligence and omnipresent existence through the Lord. Within the 10 Commandments, I think 4 or 5 of them are focused on this idea that you should not steal. Because the moment that you start to steal either peace or material items, and we haven't even gotten into adultery, which is the theft of someone's family, by the way, sleep with someone's spouse, and you have stolen the sanctity of marriage, and you have also stolen the peace from their children, either their future children or the children in the now. You've stolen it. So adultery is a major thing. And there's a reason why the consequences are so grave, especially in the Middle East. Here in the United States, it's glorified. Like I said, it's on Netflix everywhere you look. It's because everything that you see is pretty much the opposite of what the 10 Commandments would suggest you do or not do. So you're left to your own devices unless you listen to this, because people aren't paying attention to the 10 Commandments or the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, the Creator, the one Spirit, who art in heaven. Where is heaven? Let's break this down. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It's not out here, though we're used to it. We're used to pointing outside of ourselves. I still do it. Still use gestures in that way. but I often try to hit the heart center because the kingdom of heaven is within you. And you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven without becoming like a child. Well, there you go. What does a child want to do naturally? In its innocence, it wishes to give everything that it has. It wishes to laugh with you. It wishes to celebrate with you. It wishes to be calm. It wishes to see everyone together, happy, celebrating. It wishes to see oneness. So you have to become like this in order to enter the kingdom of heaven. And in order to enter the kingdom of heaven, you must understand that it is within you. And what is within you? Spirit. And what is spirit? It's infinite. We all share it. And it stems from the breath. The breath is part of the triune God. There's the Father, the Creator, our Father, who art in heaven, within. Hallowed means holy be thy name. That's one of the 10 commandments. You take the name, the word name, N-A-M-E. And with those 4 letters, you also spell Amen. And Amen means I believe. It means I believe in the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth, of all that is seen and unseen. Holy be thy name. The name that you have been given at birth is holy. And there are some of us here on this planet that experience a rebirth and are given a new name. And I've discussed this. But we all know, all those great spiritual awakened humans on this planet that have ever lived, all know that when you're born, that's your first birth. You must experience a second birth. And that second birth gives you a name. This is why Florence Scovel-Shinn was saying here that she'd be the last to enter. It's because when you're born again, you're the last to come forth. But once you come forth and you see yourself as reborn with your new name, you understand that name is holy, for thy kingdom has come. Thy will is done on earth as it is in heaven. As we give us this day our daily bread, we break bread and we eat. And we often miss the message of this. What does it mean to give us this day our daily bread? It is to commune. It is to have conversation. It is to expand our consciousness as a conglomerate, a community of cells, just like the body does. Cells of the body communicating. And so in that way we commune. That's a way of giving us this day our daily bread. But it goes beyond that. I mean, the mystery of bread itself, so beautiful. For what is bread but an amalgamation of seeds from wheat, barley, fields of it, that was born from a single seed, its own expression, born from a single seed. Millions, if not billions, of expressions all together, harvested all at once, brought in, germinated with the water of life. All of these seeds that once had died and thought this was perhaps the end, germinated yet again. Yet germinated with more potential than it had when it lived its life. The energy within the seed has the blueprint for bread itself, as well as life. And so many of these seeds come from the single blade to show you that this world is abundant. This world wishes to see you thrive. This world wishes to see you be fruitful and multiply. And so we're on this journey now of give us this day our daily bread, an hour and 18 minutes in. But it's so much more profound than that. We're just in the beginning. So the seeds are germinated, they're put out on the floor and they're given water, the water of life, and they sprout. And in the moment of sprouting, they are halted. They're kilned with hot fire. And all of that potential for it to bring forth life is ended. So it experiences its second birth. And now it holds within itself all of this potential. But this isn't potential for it to become life. This is potential for it to become something entirely different. And so from there, it goes into the grist mill. And it's ground down into a fine powder, this thing called flour. All this grist brought down to the finest grain. And within that fine grain, all of that potential energy starts mixing in amongst millions and millions of kernels, all germinated in the same way. All of this potential for life, all of this sugar. And then we give this up. We lift ourselves up. We lift this up to the Lord and we say, all of the glory is yours, Lord. All of this is yours. And what happens? The more that we mix with the air, with the Holy Spirit, and the mother, the yeast mother, in all this sugar, all of this flour with water, the yeast starts to consume all of that potential energy. And it comes alive, yet again, reborn, yet again. So miraculous. And the yeast starts expanding. And then eventually it eats up most of the sugar and there's not much left. So it goes dormant. And then it rests. And in this moment of rest, its elasticity improves. Gluten is formed. And the ability for it to rise, yet again, is there. And so it's no longer a seed at that point. It's no longer a germinated seed. It's no longer the grist. It's no longer its milled form. It's no longer its flour. It's been made into this dough, which is soft as a baby's skin, malleable and flexible, light and fluffy, and alive. You let it sit and it rises. It proofs itself, becomes more flexible, more elastic. And then we have this one life form. It's just one big globe, this big loaf. They call it masa in Spanish. So you have this masa, this mass of life. And now you start the fire. After it's been proofed, after it has its elasticity, it's formed its gluten, you start the fire. And the oven's getting warm, it's getting hot. And then you come by and you have time sensitivity. You score that bread with a sharp knife. And you want that to be there because it's like opening up the atmosphere for this world that you've just created. That's an amalgamation of cells. You score it in accordance to your artistic design. And then it goes into that hot oven. And the yeast dies again. God's gift to bring life to this masa, to this dough. It ends. And as it ends, it lets out its last cry. This steam, the hiss, the bubbling, the nooks and the crannies are formed. And it expands one more time, and then the outside crusts and solidifies, becomes even more light and fluffy within, yet on the outside solid, like a cell membrane. And after all of that is said and done, it's set aside to cool. Perfect score, ready for human consumption. And so after all of that work, it comes back to us. It goes from seed to loaf. It comes back to us. And we take that with our hands and we break that bread. And we pass it along. And we give us this day our daily bread. And as we do this, we forgive ourselves for ever trespassing against each other. Forever thinking that we needed to steal. Forever thinking that we needed to take someone's peace. We forgive all of our trespasses. And we forgive those who have trespassed against us. And in the breaking of this bread, we are led not into temptation to ever believe that there's limitation in this world. For look at what we have done with the simplest of grain. This is God's gift to us. For if it weren't for God lifting up this bread, we would have no real proof, would we? Proof of the magic that is around us. And that takes patience, it takes faith, it takes time. Unless, of course, you have the yeast mother right there, like a well-tilled garden ready to receive all of this beautiful sugar. And in that case, you accelerate the process. And that is the process of the established good. The established good in your life easily germinates and works through and eats all of these sugars and prepares something into a workable loaf in a matter of hours instead of waiting days for God's slow process to work through. Because it's a war that it has to fight against all of these other bacterial strains. It's a war that has to ensue. But if you have the pure cerveza yeast with enough concentration, you can place that right into this beautiful dough and it just takes over. You can place it into your masa and it takes over. That is the result of faith over the long term. You never have to worry about whether or not it's going to rise. You've got everything prepared in advance. And all you have to do is be faithful with the simple process, bringing forth life and being calm and determined with your process of kneading the bread, And before that, the harvest and the kilning and the germinating, the sealing of all those beautiful sugars, and understanding that this is a sacrifice made by life. So when you break that bread, it's sacred, and it's for the forgiveness of your sins, for the forgiveness of your trespassing and the stealing of peace, spouse, and belongings, and forever thinking that your neighbor is at a distance from you. That's what all those seeds thought that were in that field of grain. They all thought they were at a distance from one another, only to find themselves, that's right, harvested by the same scythe, kilned by the same kiln manager, kneaded by the same baker's hands, and baked by the same oven, to be shared with new friends and family and old, for the understanding of the truth that has always existed in us. That is why we give us this day our daily bread. That is why we forgive our trespasses. And as we forgive those who trespass against us, we are led not into temptation, for we have full bellies in the camaraderie of humanity and love. There's no lack. So we must be grateful. Once again, we come back full circle. How do you let the subconscious know that you are grateful? You say, this is awesome. This is the best time. I'm grateful for this experience. This is so good. You put all that energy into the bread, you masticate it in your mouth, you chew, and suddenly the yeast takes over again. It becomes alive again. It remembers its ancestors. It communes with its ancestors. The yeast in your mouth. And then you swallow. And the air that you breathe in exchanges with this. It gets broken down into glucose and circulated through your body in the form of brand new cells, assimilated to serve you as one of its 50 trillion neighbors. And they know not to covet each other. They just stick together. So this is seed to grains milled, to dough kneaded, to loaf baked, to bread broken, to bread consumed, all in a given day. Be grateful. That's all it is. It's just be grateful. Recognize that the power for all of that to happen has nothing to do with your name, your ideologies, your belief systems. That bread was brought to you by God. And it's more than just a simple symbol. Understand it for its truth now. For the kingdom and the power and the glory of such a miracle belong to this one spirit that resides in all of us, that sustains us, that gives us life, gives us mobility, gives us all the answers, and lifts the veil of illusion for us to see the truth of our existence on this day. God bless you on this Sunday, first day of the week, and the day of sun. Rejoice. Rejoice with the light of the Lord. See the truth in yourself and others on this day. Break bread. Enjoy it with those whom you love. Seek not from anyone. Give all you have, and understand how easily the good flows through you and has always been meant to flow through you since the first day of your existence as human. As above, so below, my friends. God bless you on this day. And until next time, be well.
day.